This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Checking off the boxes on your to-do list is a great feeling. And when it comes to checking off coverage, a State Farm agent can help you choose an option that's right for you. Whether you prefer talking in person, on the phone, or using the award-winning app, it's nice knowing you have help finding coverage that best fits your needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. From streaming to shopping, Prime helps you get more out of your passions. So whether you're a fan of true crime or prefer a nail-biting novel from time to time, with services like Prime Video, Amazon Music, and fast free delivery, Prime makes it easy to get more out of whatever you're into or getting into. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to learn more.
This is Optimal Living Daily, How to Make Quantum Leaps Personally and Professionally, Part 2, by Benjamin Hardy of benjaminhardy.com, and I'm Justin Malik. Happy Friday. Welcome to the old podcast, the OLD podcast, Optimal Living Daily, where I read to you like a big ongoing audiobook, but from many different authors. And today being a continuation from yesterday, so I'd recommend listening to yesterday's episode first. And if you're all caught up, let's get right to Part 2 and continue optimizing your life. How to Make Quantum Leaps Personally and Professionally, Part 2, by Benjamin Hardy of benjaminhardy.com. What conditions will make the achievement of your goal inevitable? Quote, social psychologists argue that who we are at any one time depends mostly on the context in which we find ourselves, but who creates the context? The more mindful we are, the more we can create the context we are in. When we create the context, we are more likely to be authentic. Mindfulness lets us see things in a new light and believe in the possibility of change. Ellen Langer. Most people approach goals and personal improvement the hard way. Rather than changing their environment, they strive to overcome their current environment. This is the essence of willpower, our individualistic Western culture's obsession. Willpower is the slowest and most ineffective way to evolve, focused on incremental and linear growth. Thus, focusing on willpower as a strategy for change will never allow you to make quantum leaps in your life. Willpower is an uphill battle, continuously dealing with the same situations. However, when you commit to an enormous goal that far exceeds your current capability, willpower won't solve your problem. Rather, you'll need a new environment that organically generates your goals, a context that forces you to become more than you currently are. Once you design the right conditions, your desired behavior naturally follows. You get to decide what you want. You have the power to create an environment that demands you to grow into your goals. If you want to become a world-class cyclist, your environment will need to support that goal. If it doesn't, like most other people, you'll be required to use willpower and you won't achieve big goals. As Dr. Bruce Lipton has said in his book, The Biology of Belief, quote, just like a single cell, the character of our lives is determined not by our genes, but by our responses to the environmental signals that propel life, end quote. Consciously designing your environment is like creating a river that runs directly toward your goals. It's like entering a slipstream that pulls you forward at increasing speeds. What role do your environments require you to be? Quote, acting is not a metaphor, but rather a model that you can apply to both life and work. Michael Port. After you've decided your goal and created the context, you'll need to determine the roles or characters you will play to achieve your goals. The truth is, in every situation and human interaction you're in, you are performing. Your behavior and the roles you play in your relationships influence other people. How do you want to influence those around you? Who do you need to be to achieve your goals? What will your voice be? What is your role? Authenticity involves deciding who you will be and the character you will play, even if at first this character feels unnatural to you. As F. Scott Fitzgerald has said, quote, the test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two opposing ideas in the mind at the same time and still retain the ability to function, end quote. Your most authentic self is who you intend to become. Like the men in Langer's study, your view of yourself will transform you even on a biological level. Act as if. Quote, if you want equality, act as if you already had it. William James. You can develop to mastery nearly every quality and ability. Of course, there are certain constraints. I, for example, can't make myself 7 feet tall. However, if I wanted to, I could become a world-class musician or leader or missionary or entrepreneur or teacher or writer or computer coder. When it comes to skills and abilities, your potential is seemingly limitless. If you've set a clear and definite goal far beyond your current self, created conditions that facilitate that goal, and determine your needed roles, all you need to do is act as if you are already that person. When you take huge leaps like this, you will absolutely be stretched. Often it won't be pretty. You'll constantly be living beneath your situation. You'll feel like a fraud. The imposter syndrome will be exquisite. Your current self will often show itself even when your environment requires you to be so much more. But over time, you will adapt to your environment. You will come to play your role so naturally that you'll no longer be acting. Acting as if will become acting as is. You will become who you intended to be, which is your most authentic self. And in doing so, the attainment of your goals will be natural and inevitable. Developing important relationships. Quote, "The bigger the dream, the more important the team." Robin Sharma. It will be impossible for you to grow into your roles without help from trusted friends and mentors. In the book, Who's Got Your Back, Keith Ferrazzi dispels the myth of the lone professional Superman and the rest of our culture's go-it-alone mentality. According to Ferrazzi, the real path to success in work and life is through creating an inner circle of lifeline relationships. These are deep, close relationships with a few trusted individuals who will offer the encouragement, feedback, and generous mutual support you need to reach your full potential. These lifeline relationships are the people who make sure you don't give up and quit. Without these people, you will fail. The situations you'll put yourself in will be too much for you to handle alone. Conclusion: taking massive leaps of faith. Quote, "Too many women still seem to believe that they are not allowed to put themselves forward at all until both they and their work are perfect and beyond criticism. Meanwhile, putting forth work that is far from perfect rarely stops men from participating in the global cultural conversation. I like that feature in men, their absurd overconfidence, the way they will casually decide, well, I'm 41% qualified for this task, so give me the job. Yes, sometimes the results are ridiculous and disastrous, but sometimes, strangely enough, it works. A man who seems not ready for the task, not good enough for the task, somehow grows immediately into his potential through the wild leap of faith itself. Elizabeth Gilbert. Quantum leaps and instantaneous change are completely available. The growth you seek in your life doesn't need to be incremental, it can be exponential. You can experience radical, even quantum improvement. The process is simple, but not easy. You'll need to know what you want and take enormous leaps of faith to get there. You take leaps of faith by putting yourself in demanding situations that require you to be substantially more than you currently are. In those situations, you'll need to decide who you will need to be and then act as if you are already that person. As you adapt to your difficult environments, you'll evolve into a new person with expanded consciousness, stretching your views of yourself and your possibilities. There is no cap to your potential. Your identity is fluid. You get to choose. You just listened to part 2 of the post titled, How to Make Quantum Leaps Personally and Professionally by Benjamin Hardy of benjaminhardy.com. I'll be right back with my commentary.
At Sierra, discover great deals on top brand workout gear, like high-quality walking shoes, which might lead to another discovery.
40,000 steps, baby. Who's on top now, Karen?
You've taken the office step challenge a step too far. Don't worry, though. Sierra also has yoga gear. It might be a good place to find your zen. Discover top brands at unexpectedly low prices. Sierra, let's get moving.
When did making plans get this complicated? It's time to streamline with WhatsApp, the secure messaging app that brings the whole group together. Use polls to settle dinner plans. Send event invites and pin messages so no one forgets Mom's 60th. And never miss a meme or milestone. All protected with end-to-end encryption. It's time for WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone. Learn more at whatsapp.com.
Thank you again to Benjamin. So in the first part, we talked about this idea of acting the part until you become that part. And the second half adds a couple of really important layers to that idea. First, consciously designing your environment. And second, that you can't do it alone. You need a team. As for environment, we did touch on that yesterday. And then needing a team, that is something that's been really critical in my own journey. I often say I started this podcast, but the reality is this has been a partnership from the very beginning. My business partner and I, we liked this kind of personal development content. And for me, reading these articles kept us both, along with some close friends, kind of accountable. And that's so much more powerful than just relying on your own individual willpower. I think if I didn't have him or people listening, even if it was just like 10 people in the beginning, there's no way I would have kept doing it. That quote from Elizabeth Gilbert at the end about taking a wild leap of faith before you feel ready, having someone there makes that leap so much less terrifying. You know you have someone to help you figure things out on the other side. You're not really leaping alone. So good stuff to think about, but I'll leave it there for now. Have a great start to your weekend, and I'll be back tomorrow and over the weekend, so I'll see you there where your optimal life awaits.